It's a Chinese channel.
The Blue Yeti is for a YouTube channel, and the camera far behind, that's the live WeChat live channel. Yeah.
Okay.
对，好啊。
Mm.
Let's get rolling.
All right. Good afternoon, everyone. We're here at the, I don't know the
GBA base.
Okay.
GBA base.
GBA.
Yeah, GBA base. It's a beautiful place because we are on the semi-open, balcony and looking at. We have lakes. We
Right. The views.
we have mountains. We have all these nice buildings in front of us.
Buildings. That's the incubator space, right?
They are part of the incubator space because we are in the, we are being incubated. Working over there on Tower C, there are all these, established company. They already grow up, that's where they are.
All right.
We are small. We just get started, but we are super confident, right? We know what we are doing.
Yeah. You want to tell us more about what kinds of companies, startup companies, can be set up here, or this incubator space?
Kick off, right? Because this is the we call them accepted into the GBA base in Guangzhou. It's sponsored by the Tianhe government. My name is Chen. I'm the CEO of tikgly, and here sitting with us our heavyweight partner Ryan Si from Manila. He's just landed in China, and big, giant, beautiful, GBA base. So super excited office hour by all these technology. We do conference charters, work, and businesses, right? So yeah, just to kickstart, because this is also they introduce us a little bit about yourself so that our audience know who you are and what your role in.
As you've said, I just came from the Philippines. I'm really based in the Philippines. I just arrived here. When was that? Monday? Yeah, it's great to be back here with the ecosystem of the startups.
Yeah,
the startup ecosystem here is very exciting, and being here at the center of smart city, it's really like it's a great feeling.
Yeah,
I always look forward to this.
Cool. Yeah, I know that you have a Chinese family, and hopefully they find it good. Yeah. So yeah, today the reason that we do this is also because we are such a transparent company, and this is also the culture of the company. And we are actually running two channels today. We have on the far side, right, the China's Shipin Hao, right. So if anyone, let me plug in the microphone in case there are someone who coming in from Shipin Hao. So we can also listen to this.
It's too bright. It's there.
We are there. Yeah, and because we have another friend coming in from international, video Zoom call. It's John from Malaysia.
Hello.
Hi, John.
Hi, John.
We can hear you. How about you? You can hear us?
Hello.
Tama, can you open mic for John? Yeah, he just hopped in to say hi because John is our also heavyweight partner from Malaysia. He, just another friend John in, right? Because this is open office hour. We have John from Malaysia. He's based in Kuala Lumpur. He's the owner of the association called Changemaker. He's a veteran technologist from Malaysia because John knew him a few years back, and John actually are the pioneer of Internet of Things Association and all this industry in Malaysia. Before John is doing what he's doing, John is actually used to work as the senior solution consultant in the Malaysia's Gongxinbu, right? They call it MCMC. Yeah, so maybe John, you can you chip in to introduce a bit about what you are doing and what your experiences with us at this Guangzhou community. Can you open your mic?
Okay.
And say hi to our partner here. We have Ryan. We have
Hello, John.
We have
Hi,
Tama.
hi.
Yeah.
Nice to meet you.
Testing. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Sure. Yeah. Go on.
Okay. Good. Thank you. Yeah, I'm in the meeting, but I just came out for a short while just to say hi. to everyone. I'm John from Malaysia, Kuala Lumpur, Cilongpor. So been in the industry for about 40 years or so. So I run a few association like Changemaker, just now Chance mentioned. Changemaker, basically we focus a lot on STEMs, science, technology, engineering, mathematics, and IoT, of course. So that is our focus, or emerging technology. I also sit in another association called Malaysia Internet of Things Association, which focuses on a lot on Internet of Things collaboration locally and internationally. We are trying to approach international companies to be part of us, so that we can, rather than work in silo, we want to be able to, what do you call that, explore collaboration across country, across different zone. So, and I also sit in a few of the government's committee members. So that is a little bit, very briefly, about my association. This recently, when like I mentioned just now, been with the government for 20 years. So now I just retired recently. So I'm doing some freelance and consulting on the side, yeah. And of course, we connected to the what do you call that, the industry, academia, and of course government as well here. So that's a little bit about myself, yeah. Okay,
Thank you, John.
Chance,
I think
pass
what
it to
John
you.
just sure. Back to me. I think John, he had actually circled back to one theme, which is building connections, right? Because building connection is the first step everyone have to make in order to connect, whatever, demand and supply side, whether it's between China or between China, sea countries like Malaysia, Singapore, and all these, regions, right? The Philippines included. And John, he's impressed me as the super connector of Malaysia technology scene and the whole industry, not just the industry, but also the government branches that are overseeing different, technology advancement, promoting education. As you heard, right, John, he's just shared that MYIoT Association, Malaysia Internet of Things Association, and including his own association, Changemaker, have been involved very heavily in the STEM education. By STEM education, I mean that's the area that tikgly team are going to engage in as well. By that I mean our team down the road, given our association with various technology consortium in China, including the R&D, and also included the direct current DC home appliances industry that we are incubating in Shende in Foshan. We are looking forward to a really great synergy where we have the Asian, entrepreneurs, right? We are not just talking about, China, but also Malaysian entrepreneurs, Filipino entrepreneurs, we Singaporean entrepreneurs, especially the young people, the young generation who are aspiring to become entrepreneur and wanted some project to kickstart their, journey as entrepreneur, right? So if they kickstart their journey, they need some help. And we tikgly and also Changemaker and also the DLMB, our small but also very powerful ecosystem. We are actually looking at this kind of synergy where we say we are not school, we are not the traditional university, but we are actually by connecting these entrepreneurs across different regions between China and the sea country and the rest of the world. I believe that there are something interesting that are upcoming that we are planning for our work. We'll be also very much focusing on people. So the talents, right, are absolutely the key. And the kind of media channel that we kickstarted right now, as people seeing here, we have China's channel, we have also the international channel like tikgly, YouTube channel. This is our starting point to engage, not just China audience, but also audience around the world, by firstly talking about what we are doing, right? So getting people on stage and talk about what we are doing, I think that's the absolute first step, right? So we need to actually keep down the road. We need to, like, on a weekly basis, we're going to keep profiling different people these are the entrepreneurs. These are the future of technology who are going to bring different things, right? Different technology to life by building business around, technologies. For example, the DC, the direct current appliances. It sounds weird, right? But the direct current appliances, how it's related to our, common future of technology? I think it's because it's part of the sustainable technology stack that we are looking at, right? But the DC appliances and the solar panel, all these, new technology, home build and design in China, I think is part of our theme as the tikgly team. Because tikgly team, we are the very idea of building such an effort is actually coming from a community called DLMB Foundation. So DLMB, for your information, is just like a new technology standard for building sustainable home. It converges solar panel, home battery, DC appliances. There are no converter in such a system. So literally, it's a starting point to engage, China and the rest of the C countries, partnerships. Yeah, and the most interesting part is like it's just the starting point. I'm maybe down in the conversation that follow. We're gonna, go because we have like 1.5 hours to run the office hour. Yeah.
Before we get to that,
Yeah.
I'd love to know more about the market in John's place in Malaysia. John, how's the STEM industry there? Are the startup companies very active in this space?
John, can
sorry,
you come in?
Yeah. Can you repeat that? I'm trying to pair my earphones so that it's not
Okay.
noisy.
How about now?
What did
Can
you
you
say
hear me
again?
now?
Sorry, yeah.
Now, I was asking you about the STEM industry in Malaysia, right?
I think it's
how big the market
very
is
good.
there?
I think there's a lot of opportunity there in terms of providing training. I think the ecosystem, the government, the best part is the government is very supporting this initiative this year. I think they are pushing it. In the past years, it was there, but there was not really a mandate. But looks like the new government has provided this as one area that they would like to push it. So I think I'm excited. I think the opportunity is there. In fact, I'm getting a lot of query, on the opportunity. So we're looking for like partners, locally, overseas as well to support the program. And potentially it could be very big because, if we do well, I think it could covers the whole key area of Malaysia or key towns of Malaysia or city. So I think I'm excited, to explore this. So I think I shared with you some of the potential there last time. I think it's there. So we just have to find the right partners and collaborate and position ourselves in a baby steps. And then if we do well, I'm quite sure people will look for us to help them. Yeah.
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah, you see, this is one area that I think we, as tikgly team, we should work on, right? John said, a lot of people from Malaysia side, they're also looking for China or resources that, ecosystem from China side we can offer, right? And then collaborate, right? So maybe the next step would be like, maybe we can just keep going this building public sessions or open office hour, keep it going. Then we will probably section up different like special themes and special office hour that are especially dedicated to Malaysian entrepreneurs, Malaysian, startups. And so that we can just jump in to just introduce each other, just go through what we are doing and actually share what we have, what are the idea, right? So in terms of the idea, I think what is at our current proposal, right? Something that we can control right now is, two ecosystems. Firstly, it's the DC home appliances and also the sustainable living technologies. So when we talk about sustainable living, right, we talk about not just, the carbon zero, all these traditional, so-called low carbon, all these green and renewable energy, because those are really abstract. That the way tikgly is engaging with the world is like we are actually deep inside a technology consortium, which is called DLMB, to actually not just talk about technology. We are actually shipping products or technology standards or living technology standards that are built around a new emerging standard that are based on direct current and also based on optical networking. And by itself, our partner on DOMB actually forbid me to say we can go on grid or off grid because we.
Why is that?
Simply because we don't want to be associated with the centralized energy system. Because there is one interesting keyword that I propose is like energy sovereignty home. So that's something that I'm stressing. Maybe I'll start talking more about. It's like energy sovereign home.
Mm-hmm.
The concept is like your home should firstly be powered by solar panel. Then maybe occasionally there is the grid energy coming in to fill the gap when you don't have enough sunshine, right? But the major energy sources in our system of DOMB is mostly about self-sufficiency, right? So when we also talk about internet networking, the optical system that is inside your house, for sure you're gonna connect it to the outside world, right? But then I got news that China is also launching our own Starlink satellites. Dozens of satellites they're gonna launch this year. So that practically means that all these locally optical home system can also hook up to the internet via China's Starlink system, China's equivalent of Starlink system. So this is the prospect where we are talking about a new way of sustain the population maybe in the sea country. But our headquarter team in DOMB their primary focus of market for the African market. It's really up to the partners today, right? We have John, we have Ryan from the Philippines, we have John from Asia. We also have partners from Singapore to say, hey, if the headquarter team don't have enough energy to cover other areas other than Africa, then we should take the lead to explore how we can deploy such a innovative home system to Malaysia, to the Philippines, to maybe even Singapore, right? Or any pilot project that the local government or the local private entrepreneur or new estate developer where they see fit, right? So because it's a whole new system originated designed by Chinese entrepreneur, invented in China, and have the China supply chain. Right? We talk about supply chain. There is a word that I'm really proud of. We call it the supply chain imagination. So when we talk about supply chain imagination, it means that everyone in this ecosystem are empowered by saying that, hey, you want to deploy a whole village, a whole city, right? Not just one building.
Right. But for some of your viewers that don't have any idea about the DOMB, you might want to tell them about what this whole package is all about.
Sure.
A while ago, when we were coming here into this place, in the car, I asked you a question like,
sure,
what is included in the DOMB package? Right? Sure. So
yeah, that's a really fair question, and I'm glad that you asked the question. DOMB is in a nutshell, DOMB is a micro framework for direct current energy, optical cable, and contents distribution. So when we talk about a home, right? When we talk about the China build, component for sustainable home, we used to just talk about individual components, right? Like solar panel, inverter, battery, DC appliances, some wiring system, socket system, right? But DOMB is for the first time that is a standard covering everything, from all the way from the standard of DC current, how, for example, we standardize everything on 2 voltage, 48 voltage, and for the regular appliances like lighting and all these cookers, washing machines, right?
Appliances,
appliances, but also for the high voltage the appliances like the air conditioner, we have these 376 direct current for powering air conditioners. But for obviously you need more powerful home battery. You need more stacks, right, on the home battery to supply them. So the whole thing we actually inventing or redefine the system in the standards, include all the way from the chips, from the power router, from the optical routers, everything from bottom up, from the CPU, from the chipset. We are custom build everything. So that's the interesting part, because we are not just like, yeah, you are just a system integrator. You just pick whatever available on the market and fit them into the solution and sell them, right? We are not that kind of IS. Yeah,
exactly. It's not just about selling solar panels.
No.
Yeah, because obtaining power is one thing, storing power is another thing.
Exactly.
And distributing power into the home is also something else.
Exactly. So imagine this kind of future, right? It just not just we need to make innovation happen, not just on one level, and not just on one region. We need to look at different partners from different country geolocations and think about, okay, what kind of business I can make, right? So can I build this kind of supply chain, partnership with China supply chain for solar panel, home battery, and everything? And what are the product roadmap, right? We actually already have clearly defined product roadmaps from starting March this year. We already had a clearly defined product roadmaps. So that means that we are not just rolling out everything at the same time, because it's such a giant, system. We start with only DC system, so direct current system, no inverters, 没有逆变器啊，没有任何的逆变器. So no inverter means that everything is simplified. It's so simple. You harness the power from the sun. You have the solar panel, feed them into the home battery. It's DC, captured, right? And then you store the energy in the home batteries, and then you feed the electricity to everything in the home, also DC, via our DC routers. So there is no inverter involved. So drastically simplify everything also means that, less time to market and way simpler. I mean, when I talk to the home appliance maker from the media ecosystem, the Meidi Jituan, right, in Shunde, all these entrepreneurs, they are just like amazed at what we are trying to build. It literally means that we are reinventing something that already there, which is home appliances. But when we talk about home appliances, we need to distinguish. We need to have a little bit background knowledge about the electricity feature of a regular AC appliances, right? In a typical AC appliances, such as for example a barbecue cooker, you have the city grid, right? Power from, like China, we have 220 AC power from the city grid. You get into the the appliances itself. So the appliances has to build in a AC to DC inverter inside the appliances, and then it will start with the heating rod, right? So that it start functioning as appliances. So this is we are pretty weird, innovator, in a way that we consider this too complex, because when you transmit everything, but you convert the power from AC to DC, it at least you lost 10% energy, and without considering the complexity of in the manufacturing and the product side, where you need to put in these AC to DC conversion back and forth so many times, right? It lost a lot of power, and it wasted a lot of energy in between. So we consider the existing home appliance design complex in the sense that the way that they consume energy, because AC actually introduces a lot of these complexity and cost in manufacturing or in the life cycle.
In terms of cost savings, have we done any cost benefit analysis? The differences in terms of savings.
Yeah, that's a great question. In our preliminary study, when we look at China's current centralized energy system, typically, right, the reason that we use AC transmission to transmit the power from afar, can travel long distance. That's the benefit of AC power, energy system. But this system, the reason they can, I mean, we need to go back 100 years, where we had the debate between, Thomas Edison and Tesla, the guy, right, the inventor himself. So Tesla promoted AC, power back then. But Thomas Edison promoted the DC power back then, 100 years back. So back then, that was 100 years back. But 100 years back, when human beings are still new, right, to the idea of using electricity, that was more than 100 years back. So back then, human beings are, all these power generators, they are scarce. They were such scarce resources. So few entrepreneurs know how to build, right, the power plant. But now we already 100 years later, we have all these centralized power system everywhere, right? But we also have these invention in China where we have this home battery, we have all these mature solar panel, we have all these electronic that can come with the smart system. So why don't we reimagine a future where we don't need AC power? We only need DC power that actually generated locally within your home, within your building. Then you start, imagining how a local area they are self-contained in terms of energy supply with just solar power. And maybe occasionally, if that country or city they can provide city grid power plants nearby to that neighborhood. Yeah, they can just use this as a backup. Because we are imagining everyone home they had a home batteries, right?
So how far ahead in the future do you think that is? Everyone uses AC.
Well, in Africa, we need to be really be strategic when we talk about how how we grow such a market or user base. Firstly, I think the most powerful driving forces of such a system is actually coming from African countries. Okay. So African countries, they are just in dire need of stable electricity. So when we talk about, hey, you see all these new, they purchase generator from China, they purchase solar panel from China. But at the end of the day, what they actually need is stable electricity. So stabilizing the electricity supply is the #1 user value. So from a product manager's perspective, I think stabilizing electricity to African countries is their #1 concern. Maybe the other market, like C country, like North America, like Canada, we had a partner from Canada. They look at what we are building. They look at what our partner and our ecosystem are producing. They simply say, hey, we probably need to factor in other low carbon credits, all these kind of concerns, right? But so with one set of technology, different geolocation, different geo markets, they're actually looking at different aspects of the concern. So we really need to factor in all these different interests from different regions or markets, because obviously all different markets, different population, they have their own priorities due to their economic status, right? The way that they've been building their home comfort. Yeah.
Is DuoNB going to be manufacturing products in Africa, or
we are going to enable our partner to manufacture locally? So we invented a business model. We called it DuoNB. In Chinese, it's called DuoNB 一路发 business model. It's pretty interesting, 一路发. But in English, we called it the DuoNB business model. It means that we don't use DuoNB as a brand in Africa, but it's a technology brand. It's a technology consortium brand. And the way that we developed the first tier of a partner is like, for example, in Ghana, we had a partner called Francis. He invested hundreds of thousands of US dollars to kickstart a retail store, and his brand is called Huggins. So we are actually trying out a channel development model. We call it the original branding manufacturing model, meaning that given the local partners' capability or their manufacturing base, if they say, hey, I can just do retail, that's fine. That's first step, right? So Huggins joined in as a OBM, but they are just like a retailer shop in Ghana. So in Ghana, these are Huggins, the brand. They will get started. They take the majority stake, and our headquarter company in Shenzhen, we are take the minority stake. But by having this equity structure, we are able to help them to source everything from China, ship to their store from. So this is the first tier of these so-called company or ecosystem assets that we are actually hard working on right now, recruiting OBM. So recruiting OBM become the go-to-market strategy that we already decided late last year, but starting this year, we just get started. Alan, our founder, he just finished a trade show in Beijing. It's called Carbon Zero Conference 2024 in Beijing. He, all the solutions were well received, and all these ambassadors or government official from African countries went to his booth during the Carbon Zero Conference, and we make a big blast. We make a big blast not just before the African stakeholders, but also among the top China leadership in overseeing these renewable energy and technology sectors.
So you can say it's produced
It will be produced. Why? Because it also tap into our business model. It means that China technology will expand to the rest of the world. Will not just like the Silicon Valley, US or Western, counterparts. We don't exactly expect for profits. You know what I mean? If you build a business that are not maximizing for profits, what we are maximizing for? We are maximizing everything for sustainability, for durability. I mean, it is sustainable, right? Because we are talking about having African, counterparts, to build the very basics of the business. Because all these technologies that are not cutting edge technologies, but all these technologies are backed by China's supply chain. That's the most powerful part. China's supply chain can afford the rest of the world, just the kind of sustainable technology that you never imagined before, right? We are not cheap, but we are reasonable price. There are all these supply chain elements. They are reasonably priced. For example, our home battery technology are actually being built by former graduate from the BRD battery, company. BYD. Yeah, BYD. They have been famous for producing the best battery, right, for EV, for electric vehicle.
That's how they started.
That's how they started. And all these graduates from these top-notch, China battery tech company, they start their own company in Dongguan, in Shenzhen, and they start to supply all these cool, the latest battery technology to, their MB ecosystem. So the way we build such an ecosystem will be, you never seen it before. I never seen it before because Alan is so, imaginative, so innovative. And I often joke, right? Elon Musk from the US, they are just looking at a big dream to go to the Mars, right? But I like Alan more than Elon Musk simply because we are not just aiming something that's so far away. We're aiming for something that elevates the living standard of the 40 billion or the 4 billion population who are still suffering from unstable electricity supply. They have families, right? They have kids, they have wives, right?
So what are the challenges?
Yeah.
The
challenges would be, the short-term challenges would be firstly to talk about why this technology and the product around such a technology makes sense, make business sense for a Filipino entrepreneur to join in, for a Kuala Lumpur, to jump in, right? For Malaysia, entrepreneur to jump in. So all these are stories that's the job of our team, tikgly. So we built an independent brand, but we started out with a sustainable technology stack. And in terms of the kind of services that we are actually forming, this is the office hour, right? So we are trying to figure out, how can we start training program in terms of telling, no worry, we have another channel. A training program where we can figure a way to engage, entrepreneurs, right? Whether they are seasoned entrepreneur or they are first-time entrepreneur, or they are simply say, hey, I have money, I want to invest in you. I want to build retail store in my home country to resell your stuff. So we need to be able to support them to do that. Yeah.
But I guess another question for you
Yeah.
is, why do you care so much about sustainable tech? Why should everyone care so much about sustainable tech?
That's a great question. I think it's the timing and also there are a lot of good reasons, right? For example, in my personal channel, I talk about new quality productivity, NQ productivity, right? 新质生产力. So the reason I care about it because that's the way that China technology industry should be able to tell our own stories. Used to be the case that Silicon Valley people, US people, they have their own storytelling, they have their framework, right? So, but what is China's technology framework, right? What is Chinese culture? So Chinese culture in terms of technology, typically, right? I actually summarized my own, definition of China narrative in technology. We had a few characteristics. Firstly, China technology is for the world. It means that there are always markets that can they're looking for affordable technologies. So we are not the cutting edge technology builder. Chinese technology builder, we are not aiming for the cutting edge, just like the US, right? We are aiming for the right technology, selling at the right price, and manufacture at the right cost, so that the rest of the we call them the less developed country and market can benefit.
It's like that technology for everyone.
For everyone, technology for everyone, not just in terms of how advanced the technologies are, right? But in terms of how affordable the technology can be. You see, this is something that European, company, they cannot do. This is something that US company, Canada company, they cannot do. Then if these entrepreneur or company from this region, they cannot do this, they cannot provide affordable, good enough technology. Who else would do? It's China. It's Chinese. It's all these Chinese people around the world who say, "Hey, I want to do business based on China." But what are the framework that you think about your overseas technology businesses, right? How do you tell your story? So telling your story and owning your voice, I think, should be the first step. I also go further because you're from the Philippines, right? We should go further in telling the world that not just China, but maybe we call them the New Asia. Right? The New Asia meaning that we are forming a coalition, technology and business partnership from countries from Africa, right? So from Central and South America, and people come to us and say, "Hey, you guys build the right technology, affordable technology," and that's something that I'm really good at.
I get that. There has to be technology, right? But as a company, it still has to be operating properly. Business to make it more sustainable.
Right.
So what are the steps to doing things in that direction?
Yeah, that's a great question. We just finished another conversation with Alan today, and he told me good news about he raised resources, financing, and also raised some, China-listed company who are actually trying to be partner with Huawei to offer them space, offer them facility for manufacturing, offer them stronger partnerships to supply everything. Including the digital R&D, central government, branches, all these different technology branches, for helping with the financial part of the whole supply chain. So when we talk about like CBDC, Chinese CBDC, so we are talking about a new venture where we trade with the rest of the world using only RMB. Because you can consider RMB, electronic RMB, as one of those stable coin. So when we talk about crypto, when we talk about cryptocurrency, when we talk about stable coin currency, stable coin by its very nature, they should be sovereign, right? Should be owned and operated and regulated by each and every sovereign country. So when we factor in this innovative payment, system, and supposedly all these electronic or automation around your home system are supported by such a financial system, layer, that would be super interesting. So one way to look at the new, supply and demand of these kind of new energy or renewable energy supply, I would say, should be around a concept that I already proposed to the whole, ecosystem. I call this VPP, virtual power plant. So imagine in the centralized energy system, we already have kind of financial, pretty rigid, right? The top down, right? So the pricing of the electricity is also based on different criteria. But what about VPP? What about virtual power plant? Can we build a virtual power plant with one building? If say this building we have 10 families who are using home batteries, who are using solar panel. So how can we help them with a digital service that help them to stabilize the supply chain for everything they need, right? Components, even including the charging services, right? So it makes sense to build a marketplace services on top of these facilities, so that we say, for example, one building maybe it deserves to have one VPP. So that's a really interesting idea. So the reason that I've been so excited about the RMB is like along the way while I'm doing all this conversation with partner, with Alan, with the rest of the team, including Dama and all the other, really innovative Chinese innovators here. We literally came up with, like a new idea on a weekly basis. And the way that we should, deal with such a situation should be like, we shouldn't keep them to a small circle. We should talk about it. We should open up the discussion to the rest of the world so that everyone can know that, hey, this is opportunity. this is the opportunity we can build. We can build some meaningful businesses. For example, yourself.
It's not only for startups in China.
Mhm.
It should be.
It should be for everyone, meaning that even if you're from the US, you're from Canada, we are welcome. I mean, it means that you can imagine how can your local economy or markets be benefiting from assets, right? To such a, we call them energy sovereignty technologies. Yeah.
Yeah, this is cool, but it's a big project. Right? Be really running smoothly, and it has to be in coordination with several other startups.
Sure. Yeah, we are talking about like a 10 years time, like the 10 years, the next 10 years, the next 10 years, because it's something new. The burden of building something new is like you need to be the first one who talk about it. You need to talk about it. You need to tell people. You need to incentivize people. You need to help them to build, to make money. You need to help your partner to make money. That's so simple and straightforward. So if we cannot make our partner rich, it means that the technology worth nothing, right? so the reason that we start tikgly is like, yeah, let's just build a business by just talking about it.
Right. There's a question.
Okay. Oh yeah, Dama had a question. Yeah, Dama he raised a question that in my mind, don't be with SoTech. Okay, make AI IoT data exchange must in one kind of Web3 trusted network, and we'll make AI IoT.
这个是刚刚那个 John 他离开之前问
That's
的。
right. I mean, Dama, he's actually the mastermind of the technology behind everything of the R&D.
Okay.
He's Dama. He's a nickname in China tech scene is called Zoom Quiet, and he was the first educator of Python programming in China. You know how I met him? Back in 2005, when I was still working in SUT, 华南理工大学计算机系. So back in the 2005, because back then I was still, practicing my programming while I was working for the computer science department in SUT. I searched the web and I found a online wiki page telling people how to set up Python programming, environment. And I came across this weird name called Zoom Quiet. And then I know there's a guy who dedicated his time writing all this documentation and give it for free. And everyone can learn from his document how to set up Python programming environment.
So interesting because his name is Zoom Quiet.
Yeah.
But it's not very quiet about teaching people about technology. So it's very good.
Yeah. I mean, that's because he is also the reason that I feel confident that not long after I met Alan from Germany, and I said, yeah, maybe because I'm just a technology builder, I use software, I design software for the first part of my life, and I'm looking into if I work on Germany, because it's such a giant technology system, I cannot do it alone. So I need more partners, I need more technology people, because I consider myself not a tech. I consider myself somewhere between technology and also design, because I design systems, right? So for the audience here today, if you don't know me, my first stop is building a racing champion identity, right? Because I feel I decided to build first, you scan the QR code, there is a vending machine, there is a screen, a QR code, and then use WeChat to scan the QR, and then you'll be greeted by the chatbot. So that you send your photo to the chatbot, then the photo vending machine in front of you will print out the photo for you. That's quite an entertaining machine. But it's the first time that showcased how WeChat is capable of doing with a connected devices. That was back in 2012. Yeah, almost like 22 years ago. Is it 22? No, 12 years ago.
Is this correct? You also are the co-founder of Wiki Factory China. Is it co-founder or a director?
China director, China CEO. Yeah, okay. Wikifactory.com is also quite an interesting, like a story of in my career journey. Yeah, because Wikifactory, they look for China operation back in late 2018. So for your information, Wikifactory is the manufacturing platform that people can upload their 3D drawing onto a web browser, where we call them the cloud folder, right? And then you can literally open your 3D drawing in an explosive view, or in whatever way you can just view everything without extra software, just browser. Then you can use this kind of browser-based, virtual workspace to collaborate with other people and do version control over your 3D drawing. That's fantastic.
Okay.
That's the invention that I was instantly, I fall in love with such a team and also this idea, and also they're already working. It's a ready to go system. I joined by early 2019, then trying to promote the technology to China manufacturing industries. So we talk to the factory worker, we talk to the manufacturing users, trying to convince them to use such a system to promote what they're doing as a manufacturers. Yeah, but unfortunately, COVID happened by early 2002, and they changed the strategy. But that experience has told me that this is the future. This is the future. The manufacturing should also be distributed, right? Meaning that, for example, if you open a like a direct appliance shop in the Philippines, and if you have accumulated enough resources over time, you can localize the manufacturing of everything in the Philippines. So that means that you can manufacture the sockets, the wiring, the lights, right? Everything. You can manufacture them there. Also using something like Factory to streamline all these designs. Because when we talk about manufacturing tooling, we used to be the case that the conversation between the 3D drawing designer and the manufacturer, it's really cumbersome. It's really troublesome. You need to spend a lot of time, travel, cost a lot to make it right. But if you talk about all your design, version, revision, version management, everything on wikifactory.com, then you simplify everything.
Is dual MB in Wikifactory?
We try to blend in such an element with the you raise such an interesting question, but that's something I wish that could happen in the future. Why? Because when we talk about the localized manufacturing facilities, right? You actually need something. You cannot just cut off the connection from China manufactured, right? So the way you build up the connection and the collaboration between China, for example, in the Philippines, right? And the rest of the world, you just set up. You use the virtual platform to connect. Exactly. To connect the manufacturer in China, so that they can over time transfer the ability to design and build whatever component for the new home system of WMB.
And Wikifactory might be the solution.
Might be one of the solutions, but maybe there are others. But yeah, it's up to the entrepreneur to decide, right?
Yeah. Do we have another question? No?
Let me check the question from. I'm not sure if we have question from the WeChat live channel. Let's see. Okay, nobody online. I think it's because it's work day. So that's okay, because we're simply using the live stream or the WeChat live to also do the video recording. So we can always record our conversation today and share to the rest of the China audience. Yeah.
Right. Okay. So talking about tikgly, is it only about just tech? Is there any other things that we'll be dealing with?
At this time, let's say the immediate technology sector we can help also is Web3. So when we discuss, you know that we've been cooking some solution, right? Like payment and all this stuff, something that should be just operated outside China. Then yeah, so these are the we call them the immediate, the word that we are looking for, and we should also be able to help the young entrepreneur. For example, if we do the training. If we do these like entrepreneur skill training, I think factor in not just AI, but also crypto, blockchain, and also factor in this sustainable technology. I think these elements are good enough to make us special, make us stand out in the rest of the world. I'm super pumped to push to mix everything into just one kind of business, which is helping entrepreneurs to be fluent and up to speed with what we have, right? So that's probably good enough to position ourselves.
Yeah. What about SLT Conf? What is it?
Oh, that's a good question. SLT conference would be something that Alan already decided to, we got a sponsorship. That's the first good news. We got sponsorship from iFlyTech, 科大讯飞. So iFlyTech will cover all the conference costs and everything. They're gonna have the conference team to work, to take over the brand to actually make them happen in Hangzhou or in whatever city in China. So we are the starter of an SLT conference, but we will be joining such a game or such a event participate online and as the international branch. So meaning that SLT conference, when they want to, expand to the rest of the world, for such a conference, for whatever, work, right? For example, iFly Tech, they say, hey, we take over, we sponsor the whole thing. They had a, executive team to join us. Then we can figure out a deal. Yeah, a deal, meaning that, hey, what kind of work we can do? But when they say, hey, you guys do this and that, and then we say, hey, this is how much we cost. Please pay us. And then we join and then we can join the SLT conference, just contribute what we do. We just keep our, because we, as a tikgly, as a team, right, we are not many people. We have Zoom, we have Adman, we have, also Javen, you and I, right? We simply say, hey, this is our core competency, right? We don't do more than this. We simply say, let's package our expertise, including the technology or the solution design, capability by, Zoom Quiet and our member. And we say, yeah, let's just keep doing a project that at our time constraint, our expertise constraint, we just focus on our core competency that we can do. For example, me, all right, my new positioning of my personal new positioning is like, I should be just focusing on telling story, crafting, strategies, telling stories. And maybe all of us, all of our
but you are also designing context.
But I try to, try not to, be too fancy about designing product right now, simply because, well, I had a family to keep, and I also need to focus on something that, can generate money, right? Meaning that, okay, Chance, you are focusing on designing product, or you're focusing on telling about, this sharing product story or product narratives. So which part are you trying to focus on, right? So I actually chose the responsible. I think I should make it the responsible decision. Is like, I should focus on my superpower, which is talking about things, speaking about what we are doing, helping clients to connect people. So this is my superpower. So I spend like 1 hour. In this job, I can generate maybe 3 times of the value that other people, find it really difficult to do. So that's something I should focus on, and I should make money, and my team should benefit from my superpower to make money. Simple as that. I think that's a responsible on because I'm the head of the company, and I should focus on my superpower to make money, and making money not just being for myself, but for everyone in the team.
I can see you're wearing a startup client t-shirt.
Yeah.
Are you still active?
Wow, you brought up a really interesting question. The reason that I chose to do a little bit entrepreneur education direction in terms of whatever partnership, including our upcoming Singapore partner, is like Javen. He had this great idea of say, whatever we are doing, we should be do cross branding with Starbright. Cross branding not just in terms of promoting what we are doing to China's network of Starbright, but also to whatever city we can imagine. For example, we can go to.
And Javen is also one of the directors.
He's the active director right now. I'm the Starbright Guangzhou Maritime director. 就是退休的那种，就老家伙，退休的 director. But I'm still kind of active in by way of Javen, because Javen is the current director, and he had all these great ideas how to engage with different city chapters, not just China chapters, but like Kuala Lumpur, like maybe Manila, maybe also we have Singapore chapter, and we have Tel Aviv, Israel, we have Dublin, right, the UK, right. We also have for sure in the home. The Starbright is actually started in San Francisco, so they Derek Anderson, he's the founder. They've been active and well sponsored by all these tech giants like Google, Microsoft, and everybody in the US. They don't worry about their own revenue and income by just focusing on US city chapters. But the rest of us, right, like in the C countries in the Middle East, Dubai, for example, right, maybe Starbright Dubai chapter. So all these are networks that we can tap into to build our channels. So in the shorter term, like the next 3 or 6 months, I think our team just focusing on telling stories, generating content, making connections, helping China tech to connect the rest of the world, and also helping the rest of the world to connect China by all the connections and network that we are tapping into. For example, the city chapter, right? So all these are human network, right? So our core competency of it particularly is like we are the master of these technology, network about human, about entrepreneurs. So we focus on that. So that's the basic, like a mantra that I have.
All right. Listening to you talk this whole time, I realized that the focus of DoMB is more into the world outside of China.
Right.
What about the local market here? What's the plan there? Is it saturated already?
I love your question. I thought about it because the way that we engage the China market with DoMB really simple. Education.
Okay.
Why? Think about it. We're gonna have a lot of young people from graduated, including college graduates. We have more than we have more than 10 million fresh graduates this year. 10 million fresh graduates from colleges. What are they going to do? Are they going to go jobless? Are they going to looking for new way of doing business to contribute their value to the rest of the world? How are we going to help? Excuse me, let me check my. Okay. Okay, should be good. Yeah. I'm too excited. Accidentally press the power button. I think it's on, right?
It is.
Okay, good. So the idea of engaging, at least from tikgly's team's perspective, right? We should focusing on education, make a lot of sense. For example, say if we hit on some like entrepreneurial, skill training program, we want a project subject. We want a domain where we can engage the young entrepreneurs. What is it? So I came up with a category that we can help with our ecosystem or our customer, like students, K-12, like the fresh graduates or the first-time entrepreneurs. When they join our events, we just say, hey, we literally own a channel that we call Sustainable Living Technologies. So are you guys wanting to jump in? Yeah, and then we have Sustainable Living Tech, right? Are you guys want to join? If you want to join, then here's the program. So some parents, they are willing to pay people to join, to pay their kids to join. Then we have STEM education. So we can just build STEM education or entrepreneur education around the DoMB system for China markets. No more. That's the most immediate and most valuable business that we can tap into this year, next 3 months, right? So with that in mind, we are not just saying that, okay, DoMB, tikgly, you own this kind of, open innovation projects, right? You are the owner of the projects, and we are endorsed by DoMB Technology Consortium. They are from the industry. We representing the bridge between education and the industry. So tikgly will hold such a position strongly, firmly. Then after that, there are some investors from outside China, like Singapore, right? Our Singapore partner. If they would say, hey, I wanted to build an entrepreneurship program with you guys, what are we going to do? Then we just join them. They invested in us, and then we join them, and then we build this educational program. And then we have ready to go technology domain. We're not just talking about one product. We talk about whole industry that are in the making, a whole new industry in the making that we can subdivide them into different parts where we can envision, we can help the young Chinese or Asian entrepreneur, not just Chinese, maybe Filipino or maybe Malaysian, right? Whoever wants to join the STAR program, we can tell them, hey, you have China supply chain. And then we have this cool technology that you can build your services on top of this technology. We can even ask, can you imagine you can build a virtual power plant? Why you can? If you can say, hey, I deploy the home system to one building, not much, let's just say one building. So can you imagine a software service that by itself is a marketplace where you can settle the payment via ERMB? Then can you imagine, we can just say, hey, this is a VPP project. Can you help decide and build it? And can you own it? So if they want to own it, we're good to go. you are a Filipino entrepreneur. You cover our facility in, for example, in some islands, right? Some remote area that the Filipino government find it difficult to support the electricity. Then we can say, hey, can you help residents in this area of the Philippines to build electricity, even for a disaster recovery, project where you utilize everything from the RMB to quickly help the Filipino people to recover, everything from any natural disasters. So we are literally helping entrepreneurs to tell their own stories based on the SLT subject, Sustainable Living Technology.
I see. So particularly education programs.
Yeah, exactly.
Maybe it's the best time to recruit educators.
Before we recruit educator, I would suggest, Ryan, you are the mentor. You are such a seasoned. I mean, tell us more about your journey. I mean, I really wanted to know a little bit more about, what you did, in the VC and also the tech startup space.
In the Philippines, I'm doing consulting, and previously I worked in the VC. And we invested.
A venture fund, right, in Manila?
Yeah, venture fund in Manila, and we invested in startups. But these are not the kind of startups you're talking about.
Okay.
Sustainable. So, kind of different. And I came here to China. I got married here, and I got really interested in tech scene here in China. It's very lively. It's very active. Not like we don't even have Ryan.
Okay.
That's why I was asking you about it last time. The director started Ryan.
Right.
Probably there's an opportunity for something. That, but nothing. Yeah, so we're looking to. I mean, the Philippines is always looking to other countries in terms of learning about it. Right. And China has been a great source of information. So, I'm glad to be talking about technology with you. You're very knowledgeable about this. We have to keep this going.
We should keep it going, and we should keep it simple as well. So the way we keep it simple is like, since we are really into this ecosystem, we should, it's our historical job, right? Our mission, right? We should be aware of our mission, your position. Maybe when I first asked the question, and then I actually want you to think about yourself as the mentor of these young, entrepreneurs who are looking into, hey, what is R&D? What is the SLT, innovation, subjects? What are the resources you can, you can afford us? How do R&D people like Alan, me, and also, Dama, right? We can help young people, these young entrepreneurs, to get up to speed with their, projects, right? So Dama he's the guru of software in China. I'm not sure if Dama have anything to say, from now on. You can speak Chinese or English, depending on what you want to say. Dama, would you like to join in and say something? Even in Chinese, that's okay.
Yeah, you can speak in Chinese.
我们刚才聊了蛮多了，然后其实也是用英文聊，然后我们刚才其实聊到我们的很多业务定位啊，包括 tikgly 的业务定位，其实我们会更多的是利用好我们今年已经圈到的这些技术，包括我们自己亲手造的这个技术资源，对吧？那我们这些技术资源其实我们刚才Ryan 问了几个很有趣的问题，就是在中国我能拿这堆东西来做什么生意？那我就跟他说，我们就先做企业家这个训导和辅导生意，可能就已经很厉害了，因为大家都在找出路啊，都在知道什么叫科技出海。那科技出海说句实在话，其实并不是说我要找技术啊，找东西，不是的，其实就是人的观念、人的格局、人对这种我们能创造的这些现有的这些够用的科技，像 2MB 这样的科技。如果围绕这个东西，然后有年轻团队愿意说，哎，我喜欢，我可能在这个马达加斯加有资源，我想在马达加斯加落地一个什么东西，对吧？那我觉得这个大框架下，我们的确就是可以这样，通过tikgly的这样的一个团队，去帮助到不同的来源的这些企业家，甚至包括青少年的企业家，他们想学习一些基础的东西，告诉他未来就是方向就是这些，然后我们可以用一个什么方法帮助他们，包括我们可以开一些付费或者是就是有免费加付费的一些服务来给到他。这方面的思考，我想听一下大妈你有些什么想法。So I'm switching channel to Chinese.
Yeah,
OK 啊，那我用中文吧啊，英文可能
用中文对，
就不够流畅了啊。对，像你说的这个所谓科技出海呢，其实科技这词儿可以你换成任何词儿都没问题啊，因为中国现在跟美国类似，它的无论是资源呐、经验呐、技术啊，还有其他各种各样的东西，其实都已经溢出了。最标志性的事情就是相同的东西在国内已经内卷出天花板来了。这个国内的这个事情就不说了，但是你说帮助国外或者出海或者国外青年创业者，其实我倒是可以举一个例子，就是最近呢我也在参与那个荷兰啊，荷兰有一个叫费利安，他一个教授，教育学和这个计算机叫什么叫双学位教授吧。他呢，就是因为荷兰呢，他也是 Python 的这个创始人圭豆的这个故乡。本来呢，在荷兰呢，他的中小学呢，大多数你想学编程，直接教 Python 了啊。但是费利安发现呢，小朋友直接学 Python 非常困难啊，所以他后来呢是在 Scratch， 就是那个图形编程语言和 Python 编程语言中间，他发明了一个叫海迪啊，就是那个海迪拉玛的那个海迪啊，就是我们跳屏。跳屏以及现在所谓互联网这个叫鼻祖之一啊，也是虽然也是女性吧海迪。那海迪这个语言呢，它就是作为一个中间过渡状态，能够让你从图形语言合理过渡到逐步过渡到 Python 的这种文本编程过程啊。其实那么我举这个例子，也就是说我通过参与他的这社区也发现了。其实我们在国内各种各样的这个场景当中历练出来的这些经验，直接去国外直接说可能理解不了，因为这个市场体验呐，包括用户的这个习惯呐，互联网的各种各样发展经历，国外都没有经历过，我们跑得太快了。这个如果一定要举个例子，TikTok 啊，TikTok 是国内抖音的海外版，但是它海外版里头所内含的这个算法，包括推荐以及跟所谓网红的这个叫邀请制度什么的，全是在国内抖音里头去摸索好的套路移植到国外的，一下就把其他所有同类的这个叫短视频平台就全给统治掉了啊！这也就证明其实我们相关行业的这个经验已经领先国际了。那怎么样让别人快速掌握这一些？其实就是要像海迪一样，给一个叫辅助的一个过程啊，就是或者说我们提供一个可以安全进行实验尝试的这么一个所谓的玩耍空间啊，提供给他们啊，然后呢，他在这里头呢完成了思维方面的这个训练啊，或者找到自己合适的小伙伴之后啊，再根据自己在地的这个国家或者地区的这个经验啊，合情合理的复用啊这个中国互联网里头摸索出来的各种各样的经验工具，甚至于资源就包括。不只是我们的开源项目，还有这个各种各样从大厂毕了业的，对吧？35岁以上强行毕业的这种资深工程师，其实现在呢，他们在很多跨国企业，中国有很多巨型跨国企业了他们有的呢，大多数也都没有外派到国外去啊，因为国内它这个本身人力成本相对于周边还算是很低啊，所以这个成立这种空间之后呢，国内的相关的开发资源也可以通过我们介绍。对接给相关的这个创业团队啊，就说穿了，一个是经验方面，我们可以提供也是基于Web 3的。刚才我也听到你也提了好多啊，这个因为现在所谓Web 2啊，就是那个 SaaS 那一套已经大厂全部占领了，这个新人新项目根本挤不进去。现在唯一能够所谓的4亿啊，就是说还有自由创造和探索空间的，就是 Web 3啊，以及这个。叫所谓区块链 L2 以上的啊，就是 Level 2以上的这个空间还是有探索空间的啊。那么在这个空间当中，我们是已经在规划和计划啊，建立相关的你所谓的这个可以玩耍的自由空间，也就是我们自己控制的这个叫公有链上啊，然后呢这个配套去进行陪大家吧。就说穿了，刚才所谓付费 to B 的这个付费呢，它就给他们提供的服务就是。case by case， 我一个团队接着一个团队啊，帮他去辅助，无论是从Web 3角度，还是说 AIGC， 就是 GPT 辅助的这个产品啊，这个技术方面的辅助设计等等，这一系列的这个经验都可以帮他们去完成这个叫所谓的原型项目或者原型架构啊，再继续帮他们对接其他的这个资源啊，所以 国内的这些资源现在是属于叫啥？无序竞争当中啊，但是大家呢，就是刚才说的想找出路，但是这个出路也是不能无序竞争啊。所以我们多牛逼，或者说我们这个 Saltag 或者是 TikTok 这个tikgly 这个，我们也在建立自己的这个品牌啊。这个从基于国内的这些资源往外头对接啊，这也是我们的这个愿景之一啊，已经在这个相关的推进了啊。好，以上 Chase。
好，谢谢这个大妈的这个分享。Let me reiterate a little bit what 大妈 just said, right? So he literally mentioned a few, really interesting. No, it's on. It's okay.
Okay.
So he literally mentioned a few trends, right? When we talk about China's and China also entered a historical moment where just like the US was before, we have so much in technology overflow. We have so many people, so many talent, right? All these, 35-year-old, technology manager, developer, they've been laid off by the big giant of technology firms, right? We enter this really weird historical stage where we have so much talents. So what is the way out? So one way to look at all this is like China already generated a lot of this interesting invention in terms of digital lifestyle, technology, pattern and everything. So there got to be a way, a channel to help the world understand that they exist. At least somebody like tikgly, right? We should be telling about it. We should be, like shoot video. We should, come up with some program to engage the international audience to realize it, to help them realize, hey, well, this is cool. I want to buy it. I want you guys to build it. I want to invest in it. Right? We want to engage all these, technology innovators around the world to leverage such an outflow of talents from China. So this is one, great aspect that Dama just shared, and I can see that he instantly get what he just said about 1 hour. And also another trend is like, because he's the guru of the programming application, right? So I totally trust that, he's also as one of our partner and mentor. We can form a really not really the strongest, but really strong team to come up with a startup program to engage young founders, so that we can transfer what we got, what we know, what we learned from, because we are already representing the older generation of entrepreneurs ourselves, right? So this is our historical mission. 我们的历史任务啊，就交棒嘛，to transfer, what we already built in China with the older generation of technology people from China to help the younger generation of not just Chinese, but maybe other Asian or maybe other young people from other part of the world, if they are willing to join the game and be open enough to help them to embrace the trend, right? And then there are a lot of these elements that we can share with them, not just in terms of all these digital service innovation from China, but also all these manufacturing resources and all these good stuff that they can tap into. So this literally put our team, tikgly, into a historical, moment, and also in a really strategic, we call them geo-economic position, or technology, ecosystem position, to position us as the bridge between China, Asian countries, and also the rest of the world. So especially when we're talking about, bridging the gap between GBA, when we talk about GBA, right? So these are the region that are we are actually living, in the region that are most advanced in China in coming up with a different kind of innovation, right? So
it can be like a platform for discovering innovative technologies in China.
Yeah.
And this means it's going to be really broad. It's not just limited to sustainable tech.
Exactly. You're right.
It's now become big.
It's going to be expand to other area, but we don't know yet. I mean, to also as the very basic training of entrepreneur myself, right? We should be really careful about where we spend our time, where we pay attention to, what we focus on in the next 6 months, the next 12 months, right? So we're talking about the limited time that, Zoom, Quiet, you and I, also Javen, right? We can just spend, what should we spend? I'm the number one guy who are responsible for focusing on everyone's effort. So, and without, overwhelm our time and energy to just freely, be used by any other party, including DoNB people. I know that DoNB core team, they are really active. They are super excited about all these government support and all these different kind of resources. I know, but we need to be really conservative in what we do and what we do not do, especially be sensitive about what we do not do with the DoNB ecosystem, right? So when we talk about, hey, let's build SLT conference, and I would say, hey, yeah, that's good. I'm really happy to support, the iFly Tech team if they sponsor, that's great. They can send their, like a conference, executive team, because we are not the conference executive team. We are focusing solely on the mentor service that we can support. We invented, Dama and I joining Alan, right? We are one of the core inventors of DoNB. We help, we are mentors. So we should be able to price our service to a reasonable level so that our mentor team can sustain ourselves firstly. So that's our number one goal. We should earn money by contribute back what we are able to do to the rest of the world. So the way to to prove ourselves is really simple. Can we get some paid customers, right? Can we get some sponsors? Can we say, hey, you guys, I give you 1 million RMB for the next 1 year to do this and that. That's great. Yeah, we're gonna then tell me if I'm gonna tell you what are the value that we got to offer, and we're gonna tell you how much time you can save to help a big corporation, a brand, or a or any organization. They are actually find us as good partner, because spending 1 million to some organization is nothing. But if they say this 1 million can actually, by working with us, we can actually help them to leapfrog to the future. Why not? It's cheap. Yeah, for 1 million to transform the entire organization into the future, it's cheap, right? It's cheap. So this is the way we structure our core team, as we are Zoom, and also including other members like Edmund and Matthias, and also like Javen, right? We are also really seasoned professionals. We specialize on our own area. For example, for you are doing DB, you're really good in consulting with the startup, journey management and everything. For me, I was trained I trained myself as a product manager for over the past 10 years. So all these elements we put together are actually the combined expertise of our tikgly team. It's something that, like this open office hour today, we should be able to showcase. We should be loud enough to tell, hey, this is what we're doing. We should come up with more topics that actually showcase what you do, what you know, what each individual us will do, and what we know. For example, this is one of the first series of our open office hour, right? Maybe in the future I should just dedicate something to programming, to technology trend, to how average people can get a hand into computing, into programming. So that deserve another special edition, just feature Dama Zoom quiet. So and for Manila, for Philippine situation, for the C country situation, then maybe we deserve another special edition hosted by you, and then we can just do another call, and then something like this. If we don't do China audience, that's fine. We have YouTube channel. Then we can just broadcast what we are doing here to the YouTube channel to the world. Right?
Yeah.
So
yeah, I guess we just have to keep an eye out for interesting companies in the SLT space.
SLT space, and also my current focus is on helping to formalize the strategy, the business strategy. I call it the OGSM, objective, goal, and strategy and measure. This is the short name for coming up with an operational plan for our investor. Because I'm talking to a few investors right now. One really heavyweight investor from Singapore, who are really interested in entrepreneur education. So entrepreneur education, at least, is something that on top of my mind. So that's the top of my mind kind of word that I'm trying to come up with. Yeah, I know that Alan from DoNB, they also got big money behind them. But hey, just wait, and then until build something meaningful, not big but meaningful for our small team firstly. Then we will use whatever we already built to service the bigger, ecosystem of the R&D, right, all around China, around the world. So that's, I mean, knowing what we can do and knowing who we are, I think they are very important, right? They are the absolute first step to position ourselves. And when we shoot video, when we do live streaming like this, and then we're gonna leave a record of, for other people to come to us, and then we are gonna say, hey, watch this video. You're gonna know a lot about Ryan, Dama, and also Chance, by just looking at this video, and then you know who they are, and then you know what they are capable of.
Right. And hopefully next time Javen can join us.
Yeah, unfortunately, Javen couldn't join. The reason we can sit here is all thanks to Javen, because he had the idea of get us to be accepted into the incubator program by the Guangzhou Tianhe government. So this is the GPA base of sponsored by the Tianhe government. They've been so nice and supportive to our tikgly team that we got I joined one of their public events where some local big company or their boss joining, and then and I talk about tikgly what we did and what we are doing, and he was like, hey, you guys are probably the richest people in our staff, because you are serving a 4 billion population markets, simply because the way we position ourselves, right? We help Chinese technology company to expand to the rest of the world. So this is what we do. This is who we are. Yeah.
So if there's a foreign company in the SMT space, is it also possible to bring them here to this GPA?
It's possible, yeah, because we are
through TikTok.
Yeah, why not? I mean, if they like the ecosystem here in GPA, then we can just bring whoever in here. But this area they have special policy for incentive for entrepreneurs who are citizens of Macau and Hong Kong.
Oh, okay.
So if they are citizen of Macau and Hong Kong, and they really want to start, to base their, operation in GPA, China, they can just come. They can just join us. Yeah, and then we can help them to establish whatever, help them. Yeah. So at the end of the day, I mean, the value that we can, or the kind of wealth our team can generate, actually depending on how much people and how valuable that we can contribute back to the world while helping as many people as possible, right? Including especially the entrepreneurs. Because the reason we focus on entrepreneur, education and help is simply because they are the catalyst of the future. They know how to build the future, right? And we have our share of expertise. We have our share of the vision of the future, but we are just one of them, right? We are just one of them. We're just trying to do our part and be humble and also be vigilant about what we cannot do. Yeah.
Right.
Well, I think we are almost approaching the end of the show, right? I set it to 1.5 hours. Yeah. Anything you want to final thought, comment, feeling?
No, I just want to invite other startup companies out there who are in the SLT space. Send us an email if you want to be featured.
Sure. Exactly.
If you want take chance and the rest of the team to talk about
your company,
your startup,
your staff and what you're doing. Yeah.
Send us an email. I don't know.
Actually, we are actually working on the landing site, tikgly.com. So we gotta publish the way to reach us so that we can quickly, jump into a quick survey on what you are doing, and then we will formulate idea how to come up with the right content to talk about what you are doing, and hopefully we can help you to publicize what you're doing right on our channel. Let the Chinese audience know, because we are expert. We are also media expert for China tech media. But we are also for 对于中国的这个科技从业者和科技的制造商来说呢，我们有熟悉国际的这个传播啊，什么油管啊，所有的这些频道啊，包括一些本地化的一些尤其是东南亚的这种科技社团，像我们刚才的John 这边的这个马来西亚的这个物联网协会啦，还有他的那个叫 Changemaker 的这些组织啦， 因为他是马来西亚工信部的一个退休专家。因为我们整个 tikgly 的这个顾问团是很庞大、很强大的啊，就我们里面还就刚才说到的有新加坡的这种就是这个就接近退休但是很有实力的这个投资人啊，同时也有这个在马来西亚工信部背景的一些技术专家呢，他们是刚退休，但是呢正在发挥余热，然后希望去通过我们这样的一个平台去对接去帮助中国的科技企业和帮助他们当地的企业家去做更多的这个对接的工作。所以对接和建立联系其实就是我们这整个tikgly的一个工作主题。This is what we do, right? We connect people, we help make business happen. Yeah.
Right. If they have interesting ideas, just come to us. And
Yeah.
Broaden the opportunities for them.
Yeah. And my job is to formalize the content and or the content channel or the method of engagement in a way that make it really efficient to connect each other, right? Yeah, this is a humble start, and this is also the reason we set up this open office hour so that we can actually let people know what we are doing and how you can approach us. So I guess we are almost done, right, with this streaming, not just China one, but also the international one. Yeah, that's
all right. Thank you, everyone, for joining us.
那个大妈，我们可能就是也是到这了，就差不多就我们把它整个open office hour 就把它限制在1个半小时。现在我们是从3点开始，现在快4点半，对，我们就尽量做到按时。对，
好的啊，控制的。
你有什么要继续再总结或者是说的吗？因为我们肯定不是这是第一次啊，肯定不是最后一次
直播。对，然后我待会儿会把它那个字幕生成，然后再上传上去。
哦，好，cool，就好。这个字幕生成是有点难度啊，不过大部分是英文了，然后少部分是中文。
对，它没关系，它支持双语的。这个我会生成双字母啊，英文字母、中文字母都有啊哈。
好，那太好了。
好，
行，那我们就先到这，就大家辛苦了。
好，拜拜。
好，拜拜。Yeah, we actually conclude